You might have noticed that I buy a lot of secondhand manga and light novels, and over the years I think I've gotten quite good at picking out and hunting down excellent secondhand deals. I am very, very often asked, how do you do it? Where do you buy from? So this video is going to go over some of the tips and tricks that I use when I am looking and buying secondhand manga. I want to clarify, in talking about places that I buy secondhand, on this video I am going to be primarily using World of Books as my example. There are some other secondhand places that I have bought from, but honestly, it's pretty much just World of Books. If you're interested in other places that I buy manga from, check out my Where Do I Buy Manga video. I cannot remember for the life of me if I mentioned any other secondhand places, but I pretty much just buy from World of Books nowadays. There are a few other places. I used to buy from Music Magpie. I don't anymore. It's just gotten too hard to navigate their site. There's a couple of Amazon third-party shops I'll have bought from, but I won't know the name. I'll have just seen the good price and bought it. So as I said, I'll be using World of Books as my example for a store online where I buy secondhand from. Obviously, experiences will potentially be different across different sites, but I do hope that some of the things I say you would be able to apply elsewhere and also just use on World of Books. Now, I feel like I'm going to say some things that people are going to be like, that is not helpful, and I am sorry, but it is all going to be the truth. This is how I look for secondhand manga. Step 1, finding the manga. I have had a number of people say, where is the manga section on World of Books? There isn't one. World of Books do not have a manga section. The best you can do is graphic novels. As far as World of Books are concerned, a manga is a graphic novel. They are all shoved in there. And even then, sometimes they're not in the graphic novel section. Instead, it might be under fantasy or comedy or slice of life or romance or literally anything but. When people ask, how do you find manga on World of Books? Honestly, a lot of searching. There is a lot of scrolling through pages. Maybe I scroll through 100 pages and pull out 5, maybe 10 volumes if I'm lucky. It is an accumulation of just time and effort a lot of the time, and then as soon as you pull out the volumes that you're interested in, there's a good chance you'll have to discard some of those for other reasons, which I'll get into. So yes, in terms of finding manga, it isn't necessarily easy. You can try searching series names or author names, but often there's just a lot of trial and error with like the graphic novel section and different sections, to be honest. Often I find manga can be quite easily mislabeled, not even just on World of Books, but on other sites that I have used, manga is very often mislabeled and put under comics or graphic novels, because I suppose it kind of is. It's just a very particular type of graphic novel comic. Something else that usually helps is actually filtering and sorting. So on World of Books you can sort out anything that's new, and you can also sort price ascending, price descending, newest added, stuff like that. However, I have found over the past few months, maybe it's changed by the time this video actually goes out, but I have found that they're kind of broken at the moment on World of Books. As soon as I change the sorting option, it kind of says, no, we can't find any results, and it's like, there was literally thousands of results a moment ago. How come when I change the sorting method, it breaks? But that's another issue. But normally I would do that as well to help me find the cheaper stuff, but I can't at the moment. Now, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, which also makes me very angry. Next off is the state of the volume. Now, personally, I'm very not fussy about a damaged book. If you decide that secondhand manga is the route that you want to go down when purchasing your manga, you need to be aware that there is a very good chance you're going to end up with something damaged, something ripped, some form of library copy. It just happens. It's secondhand. Someone else has owned this. I know a lot of the time when I do my hauls and you see the stuff and it's like, this looks brand new, or it's still plastic wrapped, and yes, honestly, I'd say 70% of the time it's as good a condition as if I just bought it in a store brand new. However, there are those times when you will get damaged stuff. You just need to be aware that that can happen and understand that you are buying secondhand. It happens. Now, on World of Books, they list the type, the state of the book from new, like new, very good, good, acceptable. From my experience, they are not very accurate. I have received very good copies that are missing half the front cover, and I have received good copies that are still plastic wrapped. My personal guess, which could or could not be true is I think they get a stack of volumes, say volume 5 of One Piece, and they have to assign a state to the stack, is my guess, which means there could be some variability. Now some volumes do also have multiple states and you can choose which one it is, so maybe I'm talking out my arse. Don't know. I don't know how else. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, basically. However, even I tend to avoid acceptable volumes because I'm a bit paranoid. There's been once or twice where I'm like, do I just for the bounce see how bad it is? But I have not yet gone for them. My experience is like new, very good, and good. I mostly fine, to be fair. I also don't mind library copies personally. Often I find a library copy, if it's had the cover on it, it's actually, the spine is in remarkably good condition compared to one that didn't. The only ones that I hate are where they have the covers, they're like big stickers and I have to try and peel them off because it's then got stickers underneath on the spine. Oh, that drives me up the wall. Something to be aware of, you buy secondhand, you are receiving secondhand books that someone else has owned. There is a very good chance there's going to be some creasing, some damage, some yellowing, and a library copy at some point. Next up we have language. Now, World of Books and a number of other secondhand sites don't just sell English manga, or even just English books. They sell books in a variety of languages. It can be a bit tricky sometimes to try and figure out, is the book I am buying English? Now, most of the time, yes, it will be. They are a UK-based site, at least World of Books is, again. World of Books, a UK site, they predominantly deal in English books, but they do have books that aren't in English. Now, how can you tell? I'll be honest, as soon as you start even vaguely, slightly frequently looking at the site and the different types of covers, you do start to notice differences between an English cover and say a German cover. I'm saying German because it's almost always, if it's a different language, it's almost always German. I have once ever gotten a French and I've never had like Spanish or any other language. It's almost always German if you get a wrong language. You do notice that usually the fonts can be a bit different on the title on the volume, and that is often reflected on the cover. But also a very popular publisher in Germany is called Carlsen. And normally there is a little logo for the publisher on the cover of the volume, and you can actually usually see that when you're scrolling through and you see one that doesn't have it and one that does. Usually a pretty good bet is to not go for those ones. Now, if you're still not too sure, definitely search the ISBN. If you go onto the volume page, scroll down a bit, there'll be an ISBN. If not, it's probably not English. Probably not English, but if there is, and there should be, try putting it into Google, try putting it into Amazon, and that will usually be able to tell you what language that volume is in. I think I have only once had a volume turn up when I'm fairly sure I didn't make the mistake, but I'd left it so long because I saved it for an unboxing. It was like 3 months later. But to be fair, I imagine most of you aren't doing that. So then we have my next point, which is making sure you have written down what you have ordered. Now, sometimes I find I have placed the volume in my basket, I've ordered it, and when I get my confirmation email, it doesn't actually tell me what number volume I've ordered. It might just have the title of the series. So say I've ordered 5 volumes of De Grey Man, it'll just say De Grey Man, De Grey Man, De Grey Man, De Grey Man, De Grey Man. And I'm like, cool. This doesn't help me with my spreadsheet. But it also doesn't help me confirm that I have received all the volumes that I have bought, especially if something goes wrong and I need to go back to them. Usually what I'll do is I'll take a screen grab or just copy and paste the page and drop it into a notepad file where it actually does have some more details on the volume before I hit pay. Probably me being paranoid, and it probably isn't a big deal to most people, but it was to me, and it was very, very nice. Which then also slightly leads into packaging. Most secondhand places, unless you are buying a lot, send out their parcels in sort of a thin plasticky material. You'll see it in my secondhand unboxing, especially from World of Books, where you get that sort of plastic thing, plastic bag says World of Books on it. Now, even if I order a lot from World of Books, they just tend to send smaller parcels. Some other places sometimes have sent out a box, but if you buy not too many, they also will send out a plastic bag. Usually it's grey and boring. Unfortunately, this does mean that there is a potential for it ripping, especially I assume as it's being sorted at the post office, it can rip, and sometimes the volume can fall out, which means making sure you know which volumes you're expecting is really good, so you can go back to World of Books and say, these volumes didn't arrive, my parcel's ripped. I think these are what I'm missing. From my experience, they're very good about it and they'll apologize, and if they're able to send out another volume, they will, or they'll ask if you want to choose something else of a similar price to have sent out instead. It is a pain. It would be really nice if they used slightly more substantial packaging. But I mean, I suppose you get what you pay for. You're buying secondhand because it's cheap, right? As well as if a volume arrives and it's sort of damaged, say, as I said, it's missing half the cover, but it was listed as very good. Now, you definitely could probably get a replacement or some money back or another volume for that, but if, say, the volume was good or acceptable, you probably couldn't. It's probably worth having a look at. They do have a list of the states and what quality of book they would expect you to receive for each of those states. Now, I understand this is why I clarified earlier on, if you're not interested or don't like slightly banged up books, probably don't try secondhand, because even a very good copy, if there's like bumps on the spine and like a bend on the cover, they'd still consider that very good. It's still a completely readable book. It's not a huge amount of damage. It's still what they would consider very good. It's not like new. I think I must have a good dozen plus times gone back to them and said I've had a problem. I've gotten usually a refund or something else sent out. Usually I just ask for a refund because it's a bit easier for me to just then sort myself out later. Plus, if I've used a discount code, I have no idea, like, for the price of the volume, am I choosing a volume pre-code or post-code? I'd assume pre-code, but then will they apply the code on top to make it the same? I don't know. Which then, once again, leads to the next point, discount codes. As I've talked about a few times, especially in the great golden age of World of Books videos, they often have discount codes, and they're usually pretty good. Now, unfortunately, a few months ago, World of Books nuked a bunch of their codes, and the best at the moment you can get is 15% off, but they very frequently come and go and change about and give different price discounts. So when you're looking at a secondhand volume that is RRP $7.99 and they have it for about £4.50, and then you can also get 15% off on top of that, it just feels good. It feels good. I feel like that just about wraps up everything I really have to say. I understand a lot of people will be like, well, you didn't tell me how to find it. Genuinely, I just spend a lot of time looking on World of Books. We're gonna leave it at that. It is time and effort. It's not turn up, quick, find it, here you go. So I'm really sorry about that. I would definitely recommend joining the Dude at Discord. I've said it many times, but a whole bunch of us share deals when we find good ones. When I perused World of Books last week and I found a whole bunch of good things that I wasn't interested in myself, I bunged them all into the Discord, and I think a few people got some great deals. As for why World of Books doesn't make it easier to split out manga and stuff, I don't know. I have no idea. Ask them. I definitely feel like World of Books is more about the selling quantity over quality, so even if you have to, I feel like manga's such a small bit of what they sell compared to everything else. I mean, they sell so many other books. They sell video games. You know, you can buy video games on World of Books. They're saying that. I think Liddy bought Breath of the Wild and all they sent her was the case and not the game. She wasn't best pleased. She got a refund though, I think. Yes, if you have any other questions about buying secondhand, again, I pretty much just use World of Books. I am unable to give suggestions for other countries. I have no clue. I live in the UK, so I buy from UK sites. I don't really use Music by Pi anymore, and then beyond that, I sometimes will peruse third-party sellers on Amazon, but I don't think there's any in particular that I stick with enough for me to say, here's another one on the list. Yeah, bung any questions you have down below and I'll see if I can answer them. Or join the Dude at Discord and I'll be more likely to remember to reply to your questions. Or someone else might be able to reply if I have absolutely no idea. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found this really informative and fun and interesting and helpful. Remember to subscribe and like and check out my affiliate and social media links found down below, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!